6 months ago, I gave up on 100,000 subscribers on a YouTube channel that made me over 6 figures to start over and become a VTuber online on this channel. Now, I have done 45 million views on YouTube before, so I know that this is a 99% skill, 1% luck kind of thing. But what I didn't expect is that being a VTuber is so much harder to grow, and no wonder why 98% of the VTuber quit before their first year's debut. In this video, I want to talk about everything I have discovered and tried about becoming a VTuber and why becoming a VTuber is just so much harder than I expected compared to my original plan. This is my previous channel with 112,000 subscribers. I was mostly doing gaming guy, going from like Genshin Impact, Lost Ark, Blade and Soul Leo, Weathering Wave, and Blue Protocol Star Residence and stuff like that. But no matter what game I jumped to, I was able to get successes pretty quick, like 100,000 view on this Blade and Soul video, 100,000 view on this Blue Protocol videos, various 100,000 Lost Ark videos, as well as Genshin Impact video and stuff like that. These are what we like to call SEO video, which stands for Search Engine Optimization videos. In general, when it comes down to content creating, I believe you should set up your viewers with an expectation of what your content is about and then deliver on that expectation. Just like how I set up in this video, I'm going to go through my previous success and talk about why they work, however, why they also couldn't be applied to being a VTuber. With that being said, let's take a look at this video. Should you play Blade and Soul Neo in 2025? This is the video that I have generated over 100,000 views on, and this is simply a game review. From the title, you can assume that this is the video that talk about, hey, is this game cool? Is this game worth playing? And you'll notice that majority of the traffic from this video actually come from YouTube search. Over 75% of the traffic come from YouTube search, from just people who are looking to get Blade and Soul Neo content. So in these videos, I set up the videos knowing that people are going to come in looking for Blade and Soul Neo content, and I deliver on that expectation. I said, hey, you want to know if Blade and Soul Neo is cool? Is it worth playing? Right? And you'll notice the strategy I use here is that I would preface every single videos with the word Blade and Soul Neo. Every single one of my videos start with the word Blade and Soul Neo because it is the most eye-catching. It is the thing that they're looking for. It is the thing that they immediately pop up. And if you go on YouTube and you search Blade and Soul Neo, I bet you can easily find this video within the top 5 video. In this case, it is the second. Because when you search this term and you see a title that exactly resonates with this term, you are able to tell that, hey, this is the video that you want to watch. The problem of being a VTuber is that this literally do not exist as a path for VTubers. Nobody ever wake up and go like tomorrow like, hey, I want to watch a fanboy software engineer VTuber online talking about why the job market is so bad or explaining what its credit score to me. Nobody ever wake up tomorrow and go like, fanboy VTubers who explain computer science? Yeah, that is something I want to watch. I don't even know if YouTube will actually show. I guess it does in this case. So, but you have to be this precise and this niche to actually discover the content I'm making, which is not impossible, but improbable. And this is why VTubers are better off focusing on short. At least that's what I believe. Because shorts content are the type of content that people don't search up, but just happen to come across. They go scroll, they see it, and they discover, and they're like, oh, a fanboy VTuber talking about math, YouTube algorithm? That's cool. And then they go scroll. Short form content was a content format that I previously didn't really focus on in my previous channel. Just because I didn't really like doing it, but it worked. Take a look at one of the best short I've ever done, which is like this one that have 500,000 views. You can see that compared to the previous metric I showed you, this videos, 90% of the traffic is coming from short feed, which means people just scrolling and happen to come across, right? As searchable content is not a viable path for being a VTuber, you have to make short content. And that is what I have discovered. And so for being a VTuber, I decided that instead of making long form video that nobody's gonna ever watch anyway, let's focus on making short form that people will discover. Think about how many VTubers you have discovered through short form versus long form content. I will bet that most of the time you discover a new VTubers through a short form content when you just happen to be scrolling and stuff like that. And here is the second big reason why indie VTuber is just impossible to grow or just feels really hard when you compare to corporate VTubers. Because corporate VTubers has all the money, resources in the world to skip over all of these steps. They have money to advertise them, so they give people a reason to watch, and then they make incredible content that keep people in the loop to remind people that they still exist and why they should keep watching the content. as a indie VTubers who are doing everything by yourself, you have to do every single thing by yourself, including the discovery, the loop maintaining, the user journeys, and it just feels really impossible. In my previous channel where I was making SEO content or guides, there is something I like to call the user journey, which is what you can realistically expect the user to watch after your first videos. So after they watch your first videos, you want to keep them into the loop by making a second video that you think they'll watch after the first, and then a third video that they will watch after the second, and then so on and so on. You want to keep them into the loop. You want to keep on making videos that are in this cycles, which I like to call the user journey. An example of a user journey might be someone discover about a new game, probably from big corporate advertisement like Play and Neo, Word & Wave, and then they want to look up review gameplay of that game to know if the corporate are lying or if this game is actually fun. Once they decide that this game is actually fun, they will then look up beginner guide, new player guide, tips and tricks and stuff like that. And by making these videos sequentially in order, I can realistically predict what is the next video that I have captured or someone who I have captured will watch, and keep on making video that they will watch in the long run and keep them in this cycle of loops. And this is another thing that's really hard to do as a VTubers, because you're a variety content creators, all your content are all over the place. So how do you solve this problem as a indie creators? And again, the problem we're trying to solve is you need to give people a reason to watch your content. The answer is, I don't know. I simply know the problem. I don't know the solution. That's why I'm here. That's why I'm making these videos. That's why I'm telling you it is really hard, because even with all of those previous experience, I don't know the answer. What I do know so far is that within a 60-second reels, you need to solve all of the following problem. And again, this is why it feels impossible to start as a VTuber. You need to have a very strong hook so that people who don't know who you are can have curiosity about why they should be watching this reel. You need to have a very good deliverable that actually deliver on that hook. We often call this a payout, so that people who watched your videos be like, oh yeah, that's what I watched this video for. It was good. It has to actually deliver onto the hook. You also have to explain who you are so that people will know, hey, these are the kind of content you produce. You can keep on coming back for more of these kind of content, or if you just check out the rest of my page, these are the content you can expect. And here is why you should keep watching my videos. And also, you need to have a future promise. It's like, hey, this is the video I'm going to be telling you producing in the future, and you can be sure to come back because I am this kind of person who produces this kind of content, and you can watch the same kind of content that have the same deliverable that you just got in the future. Corporate VTuber has the ability to skip some of these, like who you are, what you can expect in the future, because corporate do all of these things for them with their infinite resource, infinite monies, and infinite advertisement. And this is why as an indie VTuber, you gotta do everything by yourself consistently. Currently, my strategy in order to deliver these is to make sure that my editing guide, my formatting are consistent and up to space to deliver all of these every single time. As a software engineer of 6 years, I'm also making sure that I'm leveraging AI to discover things in my content pattern to see what's actually work, like judging by my retention and stuff like that, what actually doesn't work, and so I can keep on tuning the system of the content. I think the most important thing is to tune your system so that you can consistently achieve all of these rather than just changing your content over and over and not knowing what's work. If this video reached you, consider subscribing, because one day when it works, and it will, because I'll be documenting every single step I take on the way of becoming a successful VTuber, I'll tell you. You know. You see it. Alright? So with that being said, thanks for watching. If this video reached you, help me out by dropping a like and commenting below for the algorithm so this can reach more people. And I know being a VTuber is really hard, but I promise if you do follow the journey, then you get there as well. So thanks for watching. Bye bye.